Yo, and welcome back to another episode of Dan Escapes. Today is going to be a bit of a different one, but hopefully a helpful one if you're thinking of making that switch to an EV, especially in today where we had a bit of a petrol shortage. Well, it wasn't a shortage, it was a shortage of drivers thanks to Brexit, but they're not playing that up, the government. So what we're going to be talking about today is taking my Renault Zoe on a road trip. We drove it all the way to South Wales, which was about a 250-mile drive from South London, and then driving around that area and back again, and I think we clocked a total of 900 miles. So I wanted to kind of go over what it was like taking it and charging, what the experience was, especially on long journeys, because that was the first long journey I've ever done. And I just kind of wanted to show you what I learned and, you know, if it would help you maybe switch over to an EV.
In this video, I talk a lot about different charging points. So if you're new to EVs and charging, then I made a little intro video to different chargers you may encounter. So click up in the top right corner and you can see that video.
So just a caveat, on this journey, I had two bikes on the back. So that was two mountain bikes, and I think it was almost at a combined weight of 30 kilograms, had a fully loaded boot and also stuff on the passenger seat as well, plus two adults. And that actually contributes to the distance. I think it will do that in any car anyway, so you'll just notice it more in an electric car because of charging. The big thing was having those two bikes on the back, especially on motorways. It creates a lot of drag resistance. But saying that, we got there. We had to do two charging stops. So from the main South London journey to South Wales, I think we were traveling to Haverfordwest. I had to do a lot of planning beforehand. I had to kind of see what journey we'd do. Then I'd use ZapMap to kind of see what kind of rapid chargers were in that area, because the Renault Zoe can take up to 50 kilowatts. So I wanted to utilize that. Luckily, I can save those kind of charging points on Google Maps, which was quite handy. As for charging in Wales, we booked a Airbnb, which was luckily near a rapid charger, and there was another second one, which was about a 10-minute drive away. What I would say is, though, it gets pretty busy during the day, that rapid charger. I think when you do have an EV, you have to really plan out what you're going to be doing the next day, just to see if you've got enough charge to get you there and back. As for how easy it was to charge, yeah, pretty easy, connected to most of them. It got a bit tricky on the motorways. We were using Ecotricity, and that was like in the main service stations. And sometimes you'd only have one or two. I think there was one where we could use the 43 kilowatt, but then through AC charging, we can only take 22 kilowatts into the car. So the DC was out being used by someone else. But what we did was plugged into the AC, had a coffee, sat by the window eagerly, waited for that car to go. He left, and then we jumped in, plugged into the rapid charger. And then there was one occasion on the way back on the long journey where it was out of order and it kept cutting out the charge. I think someone had a problem, pressed a cancel thing, and yeah, it got all a bit messy. So we got as much charge as we could by, if it disconnected, just reconnecting it over and over again and getting as much as we could. Luckily, we downloaded a Netflix show, put it on there so we could sit in the car, watch that as it went along. So yeah, there is a few problems with charging, and I'm going to bring on to the other big thing is that's where the convenience of having a Tesla is, because when you go to some of these service stations, you've got like the choice of two. One would be a rapid charger and one would be an AC rapid charger, which only goes up to like 43 kilowatts. And not many cars can take up to 43 through AC charging. Whereas the Teslas, we'd pull up to some places and they had like 10 or 15 charging bays. And I think that's where the Tesla wins in terms of going on longer journeys, that you've got that option to either go to a normal charging station and the Tesla supercharging network. And that's why I'd recommend, if you do have the money, not many people do get a Tesla purely for that convenience. For us to drive from here to South Wales, it was estimating about 5.5 hours to get there. That's without any stopping. We charged twice, and I think we took about 90 minutes each time. So you're looking at about 3 hours on top of that. So it did take us a lot longer. So it would be an 8-hour journey, which is kind of nice because on those long journeys, it's good to have those long breaks. I know I appreciated it a lot because in a petrol car, I just hammer it and just go and stop for as little time as possible and just get back on the road. And by the time I get there, I'm either knackered or Sometimes I develop migraines, and that's an issue that I need to sort out. But having that rest period where you can just shut off and just let the car charge is quite nice, actually. Again, that can be an issue where if you do have malfunctions, then you're then stressing out about trying to find another rapid charger or using a slower charger. As for cost, we traveled 900 miles. We did 2 charges on the way up there, 2 charges on the way back down, plus we charged before each journey, and we spent a total of £121.80 on charging. I can't relate to it because I can't remember what the cost of petrol was, and I can't remember what my old car would do. So we charged at 4 different chargers. We used ChargeMaster, which is owned by BP. Then we got Electric Highway, which was mainly on the service stations as we went up. And then we had Genie Point, which was the one that was really close to our Airbnb. And then we tried an Ionity station on the way up. This was a bit of an experiment. I probably wouldn't have gone there again, but it was worth seeing what a 350 kilowatt charger can do. It does charge my car faster than a normal charger, but again, mine can only accept 50 kilowatts. The only downside to Ionity is it's quite expensive. But yeah, I can't really compare that to a petrol car. I guess you're gonna have to do the maths yourself and see if that's something worth your while. I know where this car comes to play is really in cities and not on long distance driving. There are cars which can do long distance better. They've probably got more efficiency, they got bigger batteries, so, which means you can go further and only have to charge once. So that's something you're gonna have to bear in mind with. You're gonna have to add up the costs, whether you can afford something with a bigger battery, and do you need to use those high rapid chargers to save time. And you know, those cars that can accept 200 plus kilowatts, that you're looking at breaking the bank a little bit more. That's something you're going to have to weigh out yourself if you do want to switch to an EV. So final thoughts on having this Renault Zoe and what it's like on longer road trips. Yeah, it's manageable. We were able to do everything we needed to do that we'd usually have on a normal petrol car. We've got 2 bikes on the back. We had a full boot, luggage, everything. Yeah, I think it's been great. And I've been driving this car for a year now, which is pretty insane. And I love it, you know, especially in the cities. It's great, it's so comfortable to drive, really easy, just nip in and out. It's really quick off the mark as well. And yeah, I'm just really impressed with this machine. You know, obviously, if you want to spend more, you can get better toys, better gadgets, better charging. And that's one thing I did wish this Renault did have, because this car had the biggest battery out of all the small cars that I was looking at. That's what really appealed to me, because obviously this was going to be our main run around and I wanted to be able to do longer journeys on it. When it comes to charging, I did wish I could take advantage of those faster chargers. You know, having that 50 really kind of slows it down a little bit, and I feel like if Renault added 100 kilowatts to this car, it would have been perfect. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. And if you enjoyed it and found it very helpful, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, as it really helps and I very much appreciate it. If this isn't what you're used to seeing, hopefully it's maybe swayed your decision on buying an EV or not. But let me know in the comments below, are you thinking of buying an EV? Have you got this Renault Zoe or any other EV and done long road trips, and how have you found it? What have you thought of the charging infrastructure so far in the UK? It'd be great to get your opinions and feedback, and we can have a great discussion down below. But yeah, hope you're all staying safe, staying positive, having fun, and I shall see you in the next one.